Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Today, I just saw the new Wonder Woman movie, and I have to congratulate Warner Brothers and DC on finally doing something. Making a DC connected universe movie that I actually want to see again. That is something they haven't done. I think the problem is when Marvel started to build up their cinematic universe, they were kind of riding high on the Christopher Nolan Batman films, which were making in huge bucks and will probably go down as some of the best superhero movies of all time. And after they saw that the crossovers that Marvel were doing were making a killing, they decided they needed to do a connected universe too with the DC comics. Here's the problem though, since the Dark Knight trilogy was kind of dark, gritty, and surreal, they decided that's how these films would be. Unfortunately, they need to look at both what Marvel did to make their movies successful as well as what made the darker Nolan Batman movies successful. Marvel took their time building this new universe they had. The first several movies with the superhero, they were all individuals, very rare references to other superheroes. Your character that connected it all was Phil Coulson, who appeared in all of them up to the Avengers, where he was killed off and then given his own TV show. But, they were separate, and then once you had these characters down in stone and people knew who they were and they were enjoyable, they know their incarnations, then they started with all these team ups and this connected universe, and things went off fine. Warner Brothers just decided we needed to do dark and gritty and we need to catch up. We need to start combining characters before we even got standalone movies to figure out who and what the heck they are. Again, Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman were so dark and gritty and lacked joy and were just so long and boring. And worse, they put in several comic book stories. Each one would have been deserving of its own movie and would have made a fine movie, but they jammed them in so fast that they weren't enjoyable and the characters were confusing. Suicide Squad took a few steps to fix it, but again, we have another bunch of crossovers with characters that haven't been even established yet with their own identity in this universe. If you don't read a lot of the comics or watch any of the cartoons, you don't know who Harley Quinn or Killer Croc is, so you're not going to identify with them. It wasn't a terrible movie compared to Batman v Superman, but it wasn't great. Lego Batman kicked all their butts when it comes to enjoyability. So with Wonder Woman, I came in with a little hesitation, and I can say they got it right. They have its own tone. It is darker and grittier than the cartoonish Marvel universe, but they have learned that even if you go darker and gritty, you have to have moments of fun, joy, and humor in it. Otherwise, it gets just dull and tedious being in a dark and gritty environment. Even The Dark Knight had Alfred and Lucius Fox to kind of lighten up the moment. Here we have Chris Pine's character, who's this captain in the Air Force who finds the island of Themyscira and takes Wonder Woman into the modern world, kind of being the comic relief. They're both kind of fish out of water. Him, when he first introduces to Themyscira, finds out about the gods and everything, fish out of water. Wonder Woman, when she goes to the real world, is fish out of water too. And I guess I should stop and explain the plot a little bit. Basically, it begins with Diana growing up on an island full of goddesses, Amazonian goddesses, who train her how to fight and basically warn her that her job is to one day find Ares and kill him, because if she doesn't, he will wreck all mankind. And then Chris Pine's character comes there being chased by Germans from World War One. And he basically convinces her to go outside because she thinks Ares has started the Great War and he must be stopped. And from there, like I said, once you get to London and the real world, it does get a lot darker, a lot grittier, a lot of the color disappears, but it's still funny. Watching Diana figure out how to go around the real world is really, really funny, and watching other people kind of completely underestimate her, what are you doing with this woman following you? And then she just beats the crap out of something or does something, kind of almost out of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, by knocking down a German fortified tower. That was a really fun scene. And you just have all these little scenes that are really, really fun. And her relationship with Chris Pine's character, the captain, top notch. I really believe the emotion in there. It's really fun. Chris Pine really knows how to do kind of an egotistical woman's man. That's kind of why I think he got the Captain Kirk role in the Star Trek reboot. And this character isn't too different from Captain Kirk. If you like Captain Kirk from the Star Trek reboots, you're going to love this character in this movie. He's pretty funny, and the way he ends is, really, really satisfying. I won't give away too much spoilers yet. Okay, yeah, let's just start talking about spoilers. Click off if you haven't seen this movie, because there is one spoiler I want to talk about, because I did hear it from other reviews about the villains being switched. For the majority of the movie, you think Ares is this German soldier who smells this blue capsule and gets super strong, super buff. He kind of wants to create gas that will kill all of humanity just to keep this war going. He fits the bill. Instead, you find out at the end it's actually someone from the British side who's actually pushing the armistice. And a lot of people got mad at this. However, if you know your history and if you understand what they're trying to say about this character, it wasn't a terrible twist. Alright, if you don't know your history, the armistice that ended World War I was so bad, was so terrible. You had economists and a whole bunch of people who kind of war mine these things look at that treaty and told Europe and the United States, you've got to come up with something better, because if you let France and England, who are royally pissed at the Germans, force them to take all the blame and force them with all this debt and take away any and all means to repay it, you're going to have another war on your hand just for survival. And none of them even came close, though, to understanding that this could create Adolf Hitler, and it did. So if you're Ares, who's the strategical mastermind, he's not someone who's just hell-bent on killing people. He's actually there to give us the toys and the means to fight, so we will eventually kill each other off. In a way, this would have worked better in the World War II setting with the nuclear bombs, I guess, killing them off in World War I before we got that impressive technology is a little meh, but, that's kind of the idea. He gives humanity new toys and new ideas so he can watch us kill each other with them. And that's his M.O., and when he finally appears, you find that out, and the battle begins. It's a pretty good final battle. Like I said, I didn't mind the plot twist too much, but I can understand the people wanting more character development. But if you know your history and this guy is supposed to be a super strategist, a god, I kind of agree that would be a plan for this type of Luciferian character to come out to see how many humans he could kill, because that armistice, again, creates Adolf Hitler, which leads to millions of people dying because it was just such a bad treaty. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this movie. Thank you for listening to this rambling. This is Tommy the Game Master signing out.